Good evening, family and friends. I am Annette Latigue. I am here at Coaching You For You. I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. And of course, as always, I'd like to shout out a few of the businesses in our area. I'm Braided Up. Braided Up. Zaliba, Miss Zaliba on Facebook at Miss Griffin Zaliba. She has the Capital City Beauty Salon on Chambers Street, formerly Beauty and the Beast. Good evening, all. Thanks for joining us again. I am your host, Annette, here at Coaching You For You. This evening, we're going to be talking about a few things, the most important of which is mutual relationships. And so, our header tonight spoke about when you receive, when you have more withdrawals than you do deposits, and the impact of that leaves your bank account in a negative. Before I move on, please see us at YouTube at Annette Latigue and see us on Facebook at Coaching You For You. We are at What Trenton Really Makes and at Coaching You For You on Facebook. And so a lot of people ask, what are our numbers and what are we doing? Well, the last guest before myself, I haven't tracked the last podcast, was Core Champions. And they reached over 6,000 people and had over 5,500 click throughs. So I just want to encourage you, if you're podcasting or if you're running a business and you are not seeing your numbers on Facebook, maybe you need to start looking someplace else because they're there. All right. And Facebook doesn't always accurately reflect the numbers that come through. And so just be mindful of that. And part of the reason is they want you to boost. And so when you do, you'll find that you can track your numbers and know what's real and what's not. So thank you for joining us tonight. Please, on YouTube, hit the click, like, and share. As I tell you often, I share with you often, this is one time where we want you to put all of our business in the street. So thank you. Coaching You For You is a podcast that I've been working with and on for over a year. And the numbers are steadily climbing, and we're doing some really good, podcasting and talking about things that matter. But we have a disclaimer, and I want to make it abundantly clear. We don't know everything. Maybe you do, but we don't. We're simply sharing our experience, strength, and hope. So get in when you fit in. Tonight's podcast, Elisa Robinson Carter. Good evening. Good evening to the Ingram Kingdom Mobile Kitchen. Good evening to the Food Bar and Grill. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening to Eric Mayer's bookstore in downtown Trenton. Check him out. He's doing some real good stuff. And of course, as usual, there are so many entrepreneurs. There's so much talent in our community. If you want me to shout you out, send me an email at coaching you for you, the letter U, the number 4, the letter U, coaching you for you at gmail.com. If you'd like to hear a specific topic, shout us out. So, again, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope you're all being safe. I want to publicly offer condolences to those who have lost family members and are struggling with the grief that comes with that loss. I can promise you this: time in God will help get you to a safe side. You may never get over it, but it will get better. I know because I've had tremendous loss. Again, I share my experience, strength, and hope. And so we want to talk just a little bit, and we don't want to be long tonight. We want to talk a little bit about when the people in your life make more withdrawals than they do deposits, and the impact of that on us, and how we can take real simple steps to number one, recognize it, and number two, do something about it. Because when your account, your reserves, your heart, your giving, um, you're reaching out. When that's exhausted, so are you. And for those of you who say, I don't do anything for others to do things for me, none of us do. But mutual respect and friendships and relationships on the job, in our family, and with our friends is critical to emotional wealth and health. So, for those of you who believe otherwise, keep doing what you're doing. For those of you who want to do something different, and have a better shot at maintaining and grooming and growing your relationships, there are some things we want to share with you tonight. The first of which, the only person you're able to fix is you. So, no matter how poorly folks in your life are behaving, I want you to understand that the only person in your life you can fix is you. You cannot change anybody. What you can change is how you deal with everybody. And that is to ensure your emotional health and well being. And again, people will say, oh, I don't care if they don't do anything for me. Then you don't understand mutual friendships. You don't understand mutual relationships. Those are the things that help balance us and help us grow. And it's all about life balance tonight, withdrawals and deposits, life balance. How at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year, you're not feeling drained because you have had so many withdrawals. How do people withdraw from our accounts? Well, everything about you is you, and everything about you is your account. And so when people are taking more than they're giving, and people will graciously, more than graciously, take more than they give. And the more you allow it, the more it's going to happen. And so we can still be friends. We can still maintain our relationships. We can still help our family members grow and gain mutual give and take. That's important. So it might be that I can bake a cake and I'm always baking the cakes, but my friend or my relative can really cook salmon very well. So although I'm providing cakes, they might be providing salmon. But the point is, we all get caught up on that L sometimes. I know it's salmon. The point is, there has to be mutual exchange in everything that we do. Otherwise, you get depleted. You get angry. You start feeling, discombobulated and unbalanced. And so, in maintaining balance, what I want to tell you tonight is you can recognize it when every time somebody needs you, you show up. When you need them, they're busy. That's withdrawal. You can recognize it when you are good to folks and you share with people and you do everything you can to support them. This is family, friends, and at the job, at the office. When you're giving more than you're receiving, eventually you're going to be depleted. You can recognize it when you're in tough situations and you're always standing up and they're always sitting down. That's a withdrawal. And people will say, I'm different. I do things like this. I do things like that. It doesn't matter how you do them. In all relationships, there must be mutual balance at some point. That might mean, again, that you are better at one thing than they are at another. And you learn from each other and you grow from each other and you mutually exchange. If you're not in a mutual exchange, you are in a deficit, whether you accept it or reject it. Again, experience, strength, and hope. Having done counseling for quite some time and coaching even longer, when the exchange between you and others that you spend and share time with, and you never get that time back again in life. The time you share with people, you're never going to get back. So be careful how, when, and where you share it. But the point is, you're at a deficit when there are more withdrawals in the relationship than there are deposits. What do deposits look like? When you're sick and your friend calls you and says, or your family member, and families are notorious for being in deficit situations, there's always one or two who are always doing everything. But a deposit looks like when you're sick and you're the one who runs around for everybody, that they make sure you eat. A deposit looks like when it's you're in a situation and you need a ride and they might have to go a little bit out their way. That's a deposit. So deposits are things that are mutually exchanged. They may come in different forms, but there's a mutual exchange. Anything else leaves you with a deficit. And for those of you who say, it's okay, I don't get tired, I love doing it, I love giving. I love giving too. But after a certain point, I want to receive. Even if it's just a phone call, if it's a little card, if it's a, hey, was thinking about you today. You want to receive. You can't always be on the giving end. You will deplete your resources. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about your emotional and mental health. And ensuring that your emotional and mental health is where it needs to be is important. And you do that by balancing and ensuring that your deposits are mutually agreeable or in alignment with the withdrawals. That is incredibly important. Anything else leaves you depleted. You get tired of always being available for others and they're never available for you. You get tired of making plans to accommodate others and they never make plans or do anything else in any other way to accommodate. You get tired of being the one who always has to pick up the extra things on the way to the party. And when you're having a party, it's out of their way. So tonight, I just simply want to spend a few minutes sharing with you how important a mutual exchange is in all relationships. That's not about being equal, because some people will say, and they have said in group chats that we host, well, I don't want to be in a situation where I feel like if somebody does something for me or I do something for somebody else, that they have to do something for me. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about mutual effort in relationships. At the job, there's always that person who wants you to pick up lunch for them when you're out. But when they're going out to lunch and you're busy at your desk and you can't get away, they're not going to stop to pick up anything because they have their lunch in their car. But they're asking you to pick up lunch for them 3-4 days a week. That's a deficit. That's a constant withdrawal. And so, look, what doesn't apply, please let it fly. In all relationships in my life, I want balance because it's healthy. And the only person I can fix is me. And so when I work on fixing me when there's a deficit, sometimes involves, mutual respect and validation. And your feelings and how you feel and how you think about things are important. And a lot of times people will try to invalidate them. Don't let them do that. That's a withdrawal. Again, if you're always boosting your friends up and they don't boost you up, or your family, it's not just about friends. This is about family, friends, and coworkers. If you're always boosting people up, if you're always picking up the lunch, if you're always covering and making sure that, they're good, at some point they need to do the same. And there is no exception to that. I don't care how different you are. I don't care how different you think. I think I'm pretty different sometimes. It doesn't mean I don't have mutual respect and validation for the people that I value. Now, that's important. It's all in the value that they put in it. If they're depositing pennies and you're depositing dollars, you're going to be at a deficit, you know. So check us out here at Coaching You For You. Understand that everything and everybody you deal with should add value to your life in some way, form, or fashion. Again, if you can bake a cake and they can bake the fish, that's how you work it out. But you work it out so that it's mutual. Friendships and family, friendship with friends, and friendships on the job are very, very important. Very important. One of the reasons that energy vampires exhaust us is because they take so much and give nothing or very little. And wounded people always want more. And more is never enough when they're wounded. And they can never see themselves in the situation. And in addition to that, one of the other things that is extremely important is that vampires sometimes suck your blood and don't even know it. It just comes natural. So everything can't be personal. But if you're investing time, energy into a relationship, make sure that you're validated and valued in that relationship. Make sure the respect and their energy is mutual. On whatever level it is, that it's mutual. That's important. Hey, Coaching You For You here on Facebook and at YouTube, please put our business in the street. And, one of the other things I just like to share before we close is when you value people, make sure they know. I lost 2 childhood friends in the last week, not to mention friends that I've lost prior to this in one form or another. When you value people, let them know. Don't assume that they know. Let them know. That's important. Hey, have a good night. Thanks for joining us. We're here at Coach You. There are so many valuable resources and people around you. Make sure it's mutual and respectful. Have a good night and put our business in the street.